Alright, so in this episode of the Ambition Diaries, I sat down with someone who's not only an entrepreneur, but a multi-industry disruptor, Ezra. Started his journey at the age of 19 and now runs music festivals, a finance business, hotels and property ventures. But beyond that impressive resume, Gail is an operator for a powerful truth that communication art brings communication in. In this conversation, we're not just discussing business, but it's about how one man's ability to express his vision turned into a magnet for opportunities and people as well. Okay, so Ezra, welcome.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be on. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the intro as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so you started at the age of 19. What was the driving process at that age?
What happened was necessity, okay? And this is an interesting lesson right off the bat. You do what you have the necessity to do, okay? When the quote-unquote shit hits the fan, that's when you have to act.
Yeah.
So when you all of a sudden need to pay the rent, you will make money for the rent. When you all of a sudden have a crazy, medical bill, you will figure out the money because the necessity is super high.
Yeah.
So people only do what's the necessity.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's just a general rule. You have as much money as you have the necessity to have that money.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a cent more.
That's awesome. So I know you are quite massive on social media and everything.
Yeah.
And some people have come across your pages and everything. For those that haven't seen your page, can you just give us a little origin story about yourself?
Yeah, 100%. So at 19, again, what happened in the origin was a necessity to get my act together. I was 19 and all of a sudden I found myself needing to be stuck out of the country where I was living, okay? I was living in the US. I didn't have an American passport. I went to get it renewed.
Yeah.
Not the passport, but the visa renewed. And at 19, I got declined. Long story short, we don't need to get into the legal, not that anything was wrong. It wasn't that I did anything bad. Just at 19, they didn't look at me as under my parents' visa anymore. And they said, you as an individual cannot get the visa.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm like, what? So I ended up being separated from my parents, ending up in South Africa because I was born here, believe it or not, despite the accent. Most of my life was in the US, so that's why I don't have the South African accent, but I was born in South Africa. I came back to South Africa to try to get my visa renewed, got declined, find myself away from my parents, away from my future that I had planned. You have a future that you have in mind, all of a sudden I don't have that. Now I'm stuck in this country, I know no one, and I think that I'm like in the worst place I could possibly be. Turns out Cape Town's unbelievable. At the time I didn't know that because that's the lens I was looking through, and now I need to figure out how to start my entire life at 19, knowing no one, with no connections, from scratch, and that's where it all began. And about 2-3 years later, it took 3.5 years later before I could actually go back to the US.
Yeah.
I was stuck out of the country for 3.5 years out of the US. By the time I went back, I had businesses running, I had a whole life set up. So it took 3.5 years, but I made it happen.
Wow, that's motivating.
Yes.
What was your very first business and what did it teach you that still sticks? What aspect of it that taught you that still sticks with you today?
So my very first business that I actually owned was the music festivals. And basically, for those that don't know, I started We Love Summer. It's a massive music festival here in South Africa, along with Festival. I also started Future Frequency and started Kinky Summer. I did that with partners. We were equal share partners. And we started this thing from nothing, from ground zero. We built these music festivals up, okay? Now, at the beginning, we started from the tiniest little house parties. Tiny, okay? And it became massive 7,000 person music festival, okay? How and what was the lesson there? You asked, what was the thing that I learned in that first business? The first thing I learned is that it's 100% okay and correct to start with baby steps, and that if you're building something correctly with the long-term vision, it takes time. It's not short-term. Everybody looks for something short-term, quick money, I'm gonna invest and become a millionaire. No, or they think that, you know what, I need to start big. I see many people that try to start music festivals and they try to start with a 7,000 person festival. That's what they go for, and they invest money into it. it's not the way to do it. You gotta start small. It's totally okay. Have a huge vision, but start small and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow.
Yeah. Were you in the party scene? I know you were young, and of course, young kids always want to be in the party scene. Was that one of the motivating factors that actually guided you into the festival scene?
Yeah, so I was definitely in the quote unquote party scene.
Yeah.
So I would go out all the time, clubbing. I started to know everyone.
Yeah.
I ended up gathering a huge network of people. And what was happening was, first of all, the interesting thing is I was in the party scene, but I've never touched a drug in my life, and I very barely drank.
Yeah.
So I was never into substances, but I was there to have a good time.
Yeah.
And so I would go out all the time, and I mainly was there to meet people. What I liked more than anything was connecting with people.
Yeah.
You know, going out, making friends, having fun, and the thing is, I was 19 and honestly wasting my time. It's a waste of time when partying like that. But I was in this weird situation where I'm stuck outside of my home country.
Yeah.
I had nothing really else to do until, many people party and nothing happens of it.
Yeah.
I was partying and I became from a party boy to a party owner.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Most people just
Massive
remain party boys.
Yeah.
I ended up becoming a party owner. So how? Because I knew that, okay, I'm gathering a network. I know how to bring people together. I like bringing people together. And it came from a real passion of getting people to have an amazing experience together. That was my passion.
Yeah.
So yes, I was in the party scene, but I was always looking for how can I help these people?
Yeah.
And what the people want is to have more amazing experiences.
Yeah.
And that's what I started to provide.
Okay. Was there ever a moment where you were like, I'm way over my head, and what did you do with that feeling?
Yeah, there was a few times that I was sort of in a situation where, what the heck do I do here? Okay? And by the way, if I would have known what it takes to, for example, put on let's say just a 2,000 person festival, if day one somebody told me that, I would have never started. It would have been too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you start small and you realize, whoa, this is another hurdle. To make a 300 person party is a hurdle over 100 people. 900 is a bit of a hurdle over 300. 2,000 is a hurdle. But you go step by step and it becomes less and less and less overwhelming. So yes, there were some times that I was like, wow, I'm overwhelmed, and I can tell you stories. But what helped was two things. Number one, it was just a little more overwhelming than what I could handle.
Yeah.
And so it was just enough of a challenge for me to end up being able to overcome it. It's just a bit more. It's like at the gym.
Yeah.
You know you can do 8 reps, and you say, I don't think I can do 9, but I'll push for 9.
Yeah.
I'll push. So it was just 9 for me, just more than I felt I could do. I'm a little over my head, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So if it was all of a sudden you have to do 25 reps, I would have never, because all I can do is 8.
Yeah.
So it was just enough. And that's also where it's so important to have a mentor.
Yeah.
And I was very, very lucky to have my father, who's an absolute genius. His name is Mayor Ezra, as not only my father, but totally unbiased. He's a genius and an absolute legend in the business training, business coaching, mentorship space.
Yeah.
So there was, every 3 and 4 months, I'd give him a call and be like, listen, I need direction. It would be a 3 to 5 minute phone call. Okay, I know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's why you need a mentor and a coach. That's why I feel obligated to help other people with their businesses now, because I know that without me having that, somebody that I can call to say, whoa, I'm at a crossroads. Sometimes it's a 1 hour conversation, sometimes it's a 1 minute conversation, gets you over that feeling of I'm overwhelmed. Otherwise you have to deal with it totally on your own. And you often make the wrong decisions because when you're overwhelmed, you don't see.
Yeah.
You don't see what's in front of you because you're overwhelmed. When you're scared, the first thing you do is close your eyes. If I scare you, I go, the first thing you do is, you close your eyes, you flinch, you close your eyes.
Yeah.
When you're afraid, when you're overwhelmed, you don't look. So you need somebody that helps you look.
Yeah.
And that's why it was very important for me to have that.
Okay. Just tracing back into to your dad, how did your upbringing influence your views on money, risks, and ambition?
Yeah, it influenced me largely because I had a very good example.
Yeah.
My father was a great example. My mom was a great example. Hardworking, extremely hardworking, both of them. Very, 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 very hardworking. But also, they allowed me, most importantly, and this is a great lesson for parents, the most important thing you can do for your child is to let the child be self-determined. What does that mean? Think of it as what you determine, what you decide to do. That's what I decide to do, and what I do is what I determine. Yes, that's what I decide upon in a certain direction. You need to allow your child to be self-determined, meaning let them be their own boss. Let them govern themselves. And my parents always let me self-govern myself, make my decisions on what I thought was right. They asked me to observe, they asked me to look and see what I thought was the right thing to do. And that was major because they didn't install in me their opinions or what they consider is right or wrong. They would guide me if I asked, but most important for them was to let me govern myself. And yes, maybe I fall, maybe I mess up, but at the end of the day, I became actually able to hold my own.
Yeah.
And that's key. That's something that I really value in how I plan to raise my children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your first no or first failure that actually really humbled you?
Ooh, humbled me. I wouldn't say there was anything that humbled me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not humble. And I don't think anybody should be humble.
Yeah.
I think that you should be extremely arrogant.
Yeah.
But you should let everyone else be just as arrogant as you.
Wow.
So I'm very arrogant, but I want you to be just as arrogant. And I see the value and power that you have and why you should be more arrogant.
Yeah.
I want you to be just as arrogant as me. Meaning, let's see how powerful you are.
Yeah.
Humble means turn down your power. I don't want to do that. So nothing has humbled me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. But there's been situations where, whoa, I had to take a certain situation that was a problem and fix it. You know, I have a finance business, and very early on in the finance business, we lend money.
Yeah.
Early on, I needed to learn how to not lose money when I lend money to people.
Yeah.
So there's a few moments like that where you go, wow, okay, that was a mistake. Okay. You know, in the festivals, there was many times that we got no's. Many times. We ended up working with some of the biggest sponsors in the country, but we had many no's along the way. We worked with some of the best venues in the country, best locations. We did festivals in the craziest places, from private jet hangars
Wow.
to wine farms that nobody could get access to, just unbelievable locations. And it took a lot of no's and a lot of knowing how to explain what we're doing, sell ourselves,
Yeah.
market ourselves to get there. And so something that everybody needs to know is that if you cannot hear the word no, you'll never hear yes.
Wow. Just going back into my time in real estate as well, where you do cold callings and you get like 100 no's,
Mhm.
and that one person says yes, and then you get to list their property and make a sale.
Yeah.
So I am a true testimony to that.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to know that that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
People hear the phone hangs up on them, hangs up on them, hangs up on them on the cold call again and again and again,
Yeah.
and they think this is a bad sign, this is a bad sign, this is a bad sign, and they get discouraged. It's key to say this is a good sign and not just make it up. It is, it's part of it. It's like a baby that every time they try to crawl or to walk, they fall.
Yeah.
And they think this is a bad sign. It's not. It's a really good sign because it's part of learning how to walk.
Exactly.
You need to fall.
You need to
So
fall.
you need to get no's on your cold calls in order to get yeses. It's a good sign.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I'm not just saying it like, oh, think happy thoughts. It's genuinely a good thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you in multiple industries: finance, music, hospitality.
Yeah.
How do you decide what's worth your time?
Yeah. So I'm very clear on everything I do. What's the result that I'm going for? Everything I do, I first have a result in mind. Okay?
Yeah.
And most people, and I know this sounds funny because you'll at first think no, but if you check, most people do things without having a result in mind. They just do. They're busy, doing almost nothing. Yes, they're busy and they did things, but they look back at their year and they think, what forward progress have I made?
Yeah.
I've been busy all year. What forward progress did I make? They didn't, because they didn't have a result in mind that they needed to get to in a crystal clear way. So you go and link up with a friend. Why? What's the result of linking up with that friend? For what? What's the just because I don't know they invited me. What for? What do you do?
Yeah.
What's the result of that meeting? Oh, you spend time with your wife. Oh, great. What's the result? What are you going for? Oh, you're working on. It's an important part of maintaining the connection, creating on the marriage, building on each other. So because of that, we're going on a date. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so your result is to create on your marriage. Wonderful result. Even though that's not exactly a result, that's what you do, you create, but you get the idea. You need to have a result in mind, otherwise you're going on a date night. For what?
Yeah.
I'm taking a meeting. What's the point of the meeting?
Exactly.
Could it have been a 5-minute phone call? Yes, it could have. So why do we need to meet? What's the result? So everything I do, I sift by, is it bringing me closer to my result? Here in Cape Town, we have Lion's Head Mountain.
Yeah.
It's a landmark. You cannot miss it.
Yeah.
Imagine that you started 3-hour walk away from Lion's Head, but you can see it.
Yeah.
So, okay, you have a 3-hour walk, you don't know how to get there, but you see it. So yes, you might zigzag, left, right, up, down.
Yeah.
You might have to figure out how to get to it, but you see the mountain. So it doesn't matter where you go, every step you take is going to, even if it's a zigzag, it's part of getting you closer to the mountain because you see it clearly.
Yeah.
Most people don't have any mountain that they're doing for anything. Not for their year, there's no mountain for the year, there's no mountain for the month, there's no mountain for the day, there's no mountain for the hour, and there's no mountain for the phone call even. They just do things, I don't know, random. And so that's a waste of time. So how do I sift things out? Does it align with the result?
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
I think I'm guilty of that as well. But I'm slowly trying to better my ways as I learn and speak to more people that have done it before me as well.
Yeah, everyone is. Everyone is guilty of that. And the more that you learn, the more that you learn about business, about life, which is what we do, by the way, that's what we teach, is exactly this. As a side note, the more you'll get into the control, because if you have no control over something, it means there's something you don't know yet.
Yeah.
So the more you learn, as you said you're learning, the more you'll be able to control that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you build businesses to solve problems or do you build them to create freedom for yourself and your family?
First of all, I don't do either of those.
Yeah.
I do it to help people. Whatever that means. Does it solve their problem? Wonderful. Does it make them more happy than what they already were? They didn't have a problem, they just want to be more happy? Then I'll do that.
Yeah.
Whatever helps people. So that's my first and foremost motive. Does it help? If that comes in the form of solving a problem, great. If it comes in the form of scratching their back, I'll scratch their back. What helps the person?
Yeah.
As a result, money is the fair and obvious exchange in this planet. We work with money as a return for help.
Yeah.
But the first thing is help you, help you, help you. The money will 100% come if you, of course, know how to get money.
It's all about the intentions. You know?
Yeah, the intention is to help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so when do you know it's time to move on from a project, even if it's still profitable?
Only when you are at super power. Okay, and what do I mean? You have, generally, there are 6 conditions that any endeavor is in. Okay, and I'll tell you them really quickly. This is a whole subject. I could do a 5-day seminar, 12 hours a day on what I'm about to tell you in 2 minutes, okay?
All right.
So it's a very quick thing. Every single thing in your life is in a certain condition, okay? Your relationship is in a certain condition. Your body is in a certain condition. Your business is in a certain condition. And it goes through one of 6 conditions. The first condition is non-existence, okay? Non-existence means it doesn't exist, literally. Nobody knows you yet. I start business day 1, it's a non-existence. As far as I'm concerned, as far as anyone's concerned, that business doesn't exist. I just started my business, or it's a week old, or a month old. It doesn't really exist yet, okay? Same thing with a newborn. The newborn's born, baby, okay? They don't exist yet. Nobody has even met the baby yet. They're brand new. They don't exist, and as far as we're concerned. Yes, their body is there, and yes, they're a week old, but they're not yet a contributing member of society. They're a newborn, okay?
Exactly.
Then it goes up into the next condition, which is danger. Danger, okay? When you start your business right at the beginning, first you don't exist, then you start to exist. You start to make phone calls, you start to provide your services, and guess what? Danger happens. All of a sudden, there's problems. You start your business at the beginning, whoa, problems. Oh my God, you did it wrong. The order wasn't right. There's an issue with the product. The customer isn't totally happy yet. Your phones have problems. The website is buggy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, whoa, danger, danger. All of a sudden, you're in danger. And people think this is really bad.
Yeah.
You just started. You're in danger. It's beautiful. This is actually a good sign because you're not any longer in non-existence. You've moved up to danger. A baby starts crawling now. All of a sudden now it can stick its fingers into electricity, into places it shouldn't be. It's in danger. It can bump its head. Danger, danger, danger. But it's an improvement from being a newborn. Now the baby's crawling. It's an improvement.
Yeah.
So it's actually a good thing. After that, you move into emergency. Emergency is not danger, danger. It's, whoa, there's a problem right now that could become a huge danger. But it's just an emergency right now. We need to solve it.
Yeah.
Okay? There's more and more emergencies going on. It's not a constant danger, but there's flare-ups where, whoop, we have an emergency. We need to solve it. Okay? All of this, by the way, can be graphed statistically.
Yeah.
Okay? After emergency, you go into normal. Normal, things are starting to go well. Every week there's improvements. The customers are happy. The service and product is doing well. There's an improvement. With a baby, now the baby is 2, 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, normal. Body's growing, not so much danger anymore. Every day getting stronger, getting taller, learning. There's improvement, 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 normal. There's 2 more levels. Next is affluence. Affluence means a really steep increase. Wow, you landed a huge deal.
Yeah.
The baby is now 13, 14 years old. Puberty, huge improvements. All of a sudden the body changes in a dramatic way. You get stronger, taller, growth spurts. You're growing. That's an affluence.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go into an affluence. And then the final level is power. Power means you get to a really good state and you maintain a normal in that good state. So it's normally now at a whole new level. Now you're 23, 24, 25. You're in a new state, and for years you are in your prime. This is you're in power. Physically, you're in power. The business now, making money in a huge, huge state of success. Just totally new level, making money. Yeah, some weeks a little less, a little more, but you make so much money that it's like unbelievable. When you're in power is when you move on. That's when you move on, when you're in power. And if you're not in power, you're going to have a big, what I call situation. It's a situation that's full with shit. You have a situation when you move on to the next endeavor because you left in danger.
Yeah.
Let's say, guess what? You're going to have danger on the next one.
Yeah.
So you need to leave in a good state. It applies to relationships. If you are in the middle of an argument with your girlfriend, don't break up, don't move on. That's not the time to get out of the relationship in the middle of a dangerous situation. And it's not danger as in like somebody can get hurt, but I mean it's a danger in the way I'm explaining it, where you're in problems right now. You're arguing about stuff. And now you leave in the middle of an argument. Never break up in the middle of an argument. Resolve it. Get to a good point. Understand each other. Get to a clear headspace. Get to a position back of some level of power. And then make a decision. Okay, what do we want to do together as a couple? Do we see this as a future or not? In a power state. That's when you move on, not when people are struggling, because that's when most people leave anything, when they're in a bad state. So I'm flipping it on its head. I'm saying, no, you only leave in a good state.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow from one to the next to the next.
Wow. Okay. So as businesses grow, we all know that authenticity gets diluted down. How do you scale a vision without losing the soul of it?
What do you mean? Explain to me what you mean. Authenticity dilutes. What do you mean?
So people tend to sort of like forget the main purpose of the business, the main purpose of the vision, and they start swerving into different directions, and just basically forgetting the entire message and the purpose of the entire business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your question about that?
So how do you scale a vision without losing that authenticity?
Yeah. So first of all, you have to constantly learn.
Yeah.
Okay. Because as you get into each new condition, what I haven't told you is that each condition has a very specific formula.
Yeah.
Like a step-by-step formula, that if you do that formula, it'll jump you up to the next condition. So if you're in danger and you want to move up to emergency,
Yeah.
do these steps. I don't care if you even do them stupidly. Just do the steps.
Yeah.
Do the steps. It'll move you up to emergency. You're in emergency. Do the steps. You'll move up to normal.
Yeah.
You want to go from normal to an affluence, making tons of money. Do the steps. They're simple. Do them stupidly, as I said. I don't care. Just do the steps. You'll move up to affluence. Most people don't know the steps. So what happens is they grow, they get into affluence. Affluence, again, is when you're doing very well, an extreme increase, you're doing very well. And affluence is the most dangerous condition that you can be in. It's the one that people fall from the most. When you are making tons of money, you have the biggest crashes. You go and become broke. Most lottery winners go and become broke within 2 years, bankrupt in 2 years. It's a known fact. You go and you close a huge deal, you make your first million, you spend it all and get into a situation that was worse than when you began. You are in an affluence. You need to be extremely aware of every step you do. But the instinct is, I'm in affluence, I have tons of money, I don't need to worry anymore. No. When you're doing well, there's specific steps you need to do. Otherwise, you're going to destroy everything you created. So what you're saying with the fact that the authenticity will be diluted, what you're really saying is everything that worked to get me here, I'm going to dilute. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how do we avoid that? By knowing what to do at every step of the way, because what it will do is it'll get you off of your obsessive urge to change what works.
Yeah.
People love changing what works. If you have a marketing campaign that's working, don't change it. But everybody says, no, but we've been running it for 3 months and it's good. No, it's working, don't change it. Yeah, but it's new, we have it now, it's Easter and we need to do some new. Do the marketing campaign that's working, don't change it. Everybody has an obsessive urge to change what is workable. If it's workable, continue. And if you don't want to dilute anything, not just your authenticity, but your product, your service, how much you help, do the steps, which is something that I teach, and you will inevitably jump up.
Okay. So most entrepreneurs focus on one industry, and you, of course, you're quite different. You focus on multiple different industries. What makes it work for you?
Yeah, it actually seems like I do that, but what I really do is I focus on one and build it up right, and then go to the next one. And for the first 6 years, I only did festivals. Only. I wasn't even studying, I wasn't having a side hustle, nothing. Just live and breathe the festivals to make them amazing. And it took 6 years. I mean, success was there from really the beginning, but what I'm saying is that for 6 years I built it, and when it got to a really good place, when I was in power, now, when things are, you have staff that can help and the systems are in place, now I go and I start a finance business. And I think about the finance business, I dedicate time to the finance business, and I grow it. And when that's in a good position, I can say, okay, maybe I'll start doing some property investments. Let's start hotels. And that's how it goes. So one at a time. And by the way, even for me, the areas that have the weakness that is existing in my businesses is only when I haven't been a gazillion, bazillion, quadrillion, bazillion % focused on just making one work. When I started to spread it, they're all mediocre.
Right. So you often speak about this concept of communication out brings communication in.
Yes.
Would you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah, 100%. So on a very basic level, again, this is a huge topic, which I love talking about, but everybody needs to know that everything we're talking about in this podcast episode that'll be, 30 minutes, an hour, however long, it's not even enough to scratch the surface. I'm just introducing you to these concepts. But there's a concept called communication out equals communication in. What that means is, when you go and communicate out to someone, it will inevitably bring a communication in. Okay? If I go and I don't know you and I say, hi, my name is Gal, I'm communicating out to you, you will say, hey, and we start talking.
Exactly.
Now there's communication in. I met a new friend. Okay, if I go to a party and I just sit on the couch, I have no communication out. Guess what? I won't meet anyone. I won't meet my future best friend. I won't meet my future girlfriend. I won't meet anyone. My future business partner. I'm just sitting on the couch. No communication out, no communication in. But if I go to the same party and I introduce myself to everyone, hi, talking, communicating out, seeing how I can help the people around me, communication out, then, wow, believe me, there'll be communication in. Same thing in business. If you're not communicating out, you won't get communication in, which what the business wants is leads. It's phone calls, likes, follows, people interested, opportunities, clients. Those are all communications in that you want. If you don't have enough of that, if you don't have enough communication in, you aren't communicating out enough. When communication in is down in my business, what I look at is how do we increase the communication out?
Yeah. Is there such thing as over communicating?
No.
Yeah.
No such thing. There's such a thing as over talking.
Yeah.
Talking and communication is two totally different things.
Yeah.
Okay, I can talk and annoy your head off and not say anything. I know people that talk but say nothing.
Yeah.
So no, communication is something very specific, which is again huge. We can do a whole podcast on communication, okay?
Yeah.
But if the listeners just get a bit of an understanding that there's something different between saying something, moving your mouth,
Yeah.
talking, there's something different between that and actual communication to somebody, then no, there's no such thing as communication over communication, because by the very nature of you understanding how to communicate, you won't over communicate. You'll actually get a point across.
Yeah.
And ensure that the other side understood you.
Exactly.
That's what's the most important part of communication. Involves the other side understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah. So was there ever a conversation you've had that changed your life completely?
Yes, there's many conversations I always have that change my life. What I do is I don't have it in the form of conversations, but I learn every single day almost from, funny enough, it's going to sound funny, but from the material that we teach.
Yeah.
I learn the material that we teach again and again, and every time I listen to one of our webinars, one of our recordings, one of our programs, one of our interviews, I listen to something there and I'm like, wow, that even though I know it already, I listen to it again, it changes my life. I do webinars with my dad. If anybody listening can go to our website, gprosperity.com. G stands for guaranteed. Everything we do is guaranteed. If I'm going to help you with sales and I don't make sure your sales increases, if I don't if I don't do that, I guarantee I will.
Yeah.
And if I don't just pay you back. I pay you damages. I pay you for wasting your time. So everything we do is guaranteed. If I say I'm going to increase your sales, I guarantee it. So gprosperity.com, go there. We have tons of free courses. You'll find it the second you get to our website.
Yeah.
Do one. It'll change your life. And so for me, it's those situations that I, quote unquote conversations that change my life.
Yeah. If someone is struggling to be seen, heard, or understood, where should they start?
They should start by learning how to communicate and how to become visible. And most people aren't visible. I say that they have an invisibility cloak. In Harry Potter, there was that invisibility cloak, this thing that they wore, and now nobody could see you underneath it. Most businesses and people have an invisibility cloak over them. Nobody sees you. You have 34 friends, you have 800 friends on Facebook, and 1,200 followers. Not that the followers mean anything, but it's just an indication of how many people know you. It's nothing. You're trying to run a business or you're trying to be known, seen, heard, and you can't break your 39 friend group or whatever.
Yeah.
You need to be much more visible. And how you do that, you have to learn. Everything involves learning, and there's no shortcut besides learning. So I say people have this invisibility cloak, and again, I'm not just trying to plug my courses, it's really not my point. But I have a course that I ended up having to explain this again and again. I did a 6-session course to teach people how to become visible, how to make sure people actually look at your marketing, how to actually be seen, how to not waste money and effort and wasted energy and disappointments and frustrations on trying to be seen and promoting your product, on promoting yourself. That's what I put together there. And so there's a lot to learn. What I'm giving you here today is already going to help you. If you listen to this podcast again, I've given gems and I speak in a way that you'll notice most people don't say the things I say.
Yeah.
It's not the common regurgitated stuff. So there's a lot more where that came from.
Would you say building a personal brand is quite essential in your line of work currently?
I think that it's great.
Yeah.
I don't think it's essential.
Okay.
Even before I had a personal brand, I was making way more money than people that had a personal brand. So the personal brand is wonderful. It's a great asset,
Yeah.
but it's not essential at the beginning. As you grow and improve, yes, there's a time that having a brand becomes important. But most people try to sell you on, if you have a personal brand, that's it, money will flow to you. And it's not true. And so they invest in building a personal brand and they're broke. So it's great. I'm not against it. You know what I mean? I want a personal brand. I'm for it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to build a personal brand right now. 12 years after, being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've made great success without a personal brand. So it's a wonderful thing. It's just not the essential at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just tapping into the financial side of it as well.
Yeah.
At what stage were you educated in regards to the importance of money?
So I was actually always educated that money is not important.
Yeah.
What's important is helping people,
Yeah.
providing value. Money, people think that money is something you make. Go make some money. No, money is something that you have. The government, they're the ones that make the money. You don't need to make money. They make
Yeah.
money. They make it. You have it. You need to go and collect money for providing huge value. So it's not important. Money is a tool. Money is something that allows you to do only one thing.
Yeah.
Help more people.
Yeah.
That's the point of money. Help more people. Yes, it can involve you living a better lifestyle. If it's in the direction of helping more people, you'll see it will expand. If it's in the direction of just having cheap thrills like renting a Lamborghini or something, or buying yourself a watch, and that's what you think your money is for, it's going to be very short-lived and miserable. The minute you have the watch, 1 week later, you're over it. Because it's not really the point of money. The point of money is to continue to help people. And when you help more and more and more people, genuinely, money continues to come, which allows you to then help more people. So money is only quote unquote important if it's in the direction of providing more value. If it's just for my own personal needs, then how selfish can I be?
Yeah. Okay. Have your businesses ever changed you in a way you didn't expect, for the better or for worse?
No, I wouldn't say so, because I don't think that business can change me.
Yeah.
I change the business.
True.
What is a business? A business is not something that's alive and makes its own decisions. A business is a thing. It's a thing. It's like, did my this table ever change me? It's just a table. The table never did anything besides be a table.
Yeah.
What changed me is the only thing that can change me.
Yeah.
Is me.
Yes.
Because I'm a spiritual being that's powerful. So a business won't change me. I change the business. A business is just people, a person usually, by the way, someone that runs it. It's a vehicle. It's like a car. The car never changes you. You change the car.
Yeah.
So no, the business never changed me. I changed my businesses.
Yeah, so it's just like looking at social media, you see a lot of youngsters where they start making a little money, and with the whole part of building a personal brand, they start renting out fancy cars, and that's out of their character, so it changes their personality and everything. What sort of advice would you give young entrepreneurs that are currently starting to make money in terms of not blowing it up, trying to build a personal brand and build an image that doesn't reflect their character?
Yeah, first of all, stop trying to show off. I know it's your marketing department.
Yeah.
You know, the Instagram is just your marketing department. It's not what's really going on.
Yeah.
So anybody can have a great marketing department and put on a fancy front, but it doesn't mean that that's really what's going on. So even those youngsters that you see that are supposedly living large and whatever, you don't know anything about what's really going on there. Anybody can make a lifestyle look easy. You can easily be in somebody's rented mansion and make it look like it's yours. You can easily take photos in front of a rented Lamborghini. And by the way, if you bought yourself a Lamborghini, good for you, but it's not even the point. That you bought a Lamborghini, it doesn't say anything about the person's state of mind. How did they make the money? How happy are they really? I know many millionaires, dollar millionaires, and actually 1 or 2 billionaires that are miserable.
Wow.
And have a horrible relationship with their children. They give up all their money just to have a good relationship with their children. So they can look like they own a Lamborghini. Oh, but is it really what you're wanting? No. So my advice is, when you make money, learn the steps of what to do. If you have big money, really, well done.
Yeah.
If you've done it ethically, well done. Now you have an affluence. You have a big increase.
Yeah.
You need to know what to do because you are going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
I was working with a company that was doing 30 million rand turnover a year. Okay,
Wow.
not bad. 30 million rand turnover a year. 2 years later, ended the company with 3 million rand debt. How? 3 million rand debt. Because they didn't do the right steps.
Yeah.
So for a while, they looked really fancy on social media. Ooh, they looked like they were balling. They were at the club. They were getting all the bottles and driving the nice cars. And guess what? They ended up 3 million rand in debt because they didn't do the right steps when they were in an affluence.
Yeah.
So you need to have somebody, I don't care who, it can be any person that's actually long-term created success, or somebody that's a good coach, a good mentor. It's what I do, it's what I know a lot of people do well, that actually guides you on what are the steps when you're in an affluence, specific steps. And if you don't do them, you're going to have a major disaster. Maybe it'll be a highlight for 2-3 years, but it's going to be catastrophic for you if you don't do the right steps when you start to make money.
Okay. Do you think true success can exist without self-awareness?
What do you mean by self-awareness?
Like, you are content with the type of person you are, and you know who you are, and you're not trying to project something else on social media that deflects your character. Just self-awareness.
Yeah, I think that it's important to fully understand, because I still don't totally get what you mean
Yeah.
by self-awareness. It's something that I know people say.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to be self-aware, or you need to know yourself. But what does that mean, really?
So in regards to your values, so you don't let success go over your head and undermine your values.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And should you keep your values? 100%.
Yeah.
Your values are the banks on the river, right? You have river banks that make sure the river doesn't overflow.
Yeah.
Your values are like banks on the river that maybe you might splish and splash this way and that way, but you're still within the banks of the river. You have certain things that you know are the best thing that you do
Yeah.
in order to bring about the best results. That's what a value is. Your values are certain things that you found will bring you the most pro-survival,
Yeah.
meaning good survival results. So if you have values that are the best things to do, for example, I have a value, don't take drugs. That's one of my values, okay? No good results I've ever seen come from taking drugs. So that's one of my values, because I know that it brings the best, most pro-survival results.
Yeah.
Okay? So if that's the case, then I will stick to that value because it brings me good results, and it doesn't matter how much money I make or how much no money I make, or if I'm happy or if I'm sad. That's going to bring me the best results, so I don't compromise on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the biggest questions where I think a lot of entrepreneurs fail to understand, you've got this whole thing where you build fast success. You've got your crypto traders, you've got your guys that get rich overnight, your lottery winners. If you ever had to lose everything, what would be the first thing that you would do that will separate you from these overnight success?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is I would find who needs help
Yeah.
And how can I do it in the best way possible?
Yeah.
How can I be the best at what I'm doing? If right now I have zero and I have an option to be a door opener in a hotel, I just open the front door for guests. I will be the best door opener that there ever was, because I'll do whatever I can do to help. Right now I'm starting at zero, and I'll be the best. And then before long I'll find what I can do to grow in whatever I've chosen. Now I'm not the best door opener, I'm the best receptionist.
Yeah.
And I'll rebuild by being the best, and I'll know that I'm not looking for short-term bursts.
Yeah.
What most people will do, they lost everything, they look for the short-term burst, like you're saying, a crypto win.
Yeah.
Something that's like, oh, I'm gonna all of a sudden have some. It's extremely rare.
Yeah.
Usually, sorry to say, not always ethical. And it doesn't actually bring about a long-term results. There's huge ups and huge downs. I'm, not going to say what's right or what's wrong for people that are doing that, because each situation is really unique, and some people do it well and wonderfully, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
The way I would do it, I would look at, okay, starting from zero, I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
5 years. Give me 5 years to build something significant. I will know that it's a long haul. I will not look for the short term. And I will take every penny I have and invest it again in myself, learning.
Yeah.
Every cent I have extra will go towards doing another course, towards working with some mentor, towards learning something online. And if it's not every cent, I'll find free resources, and I will learn, and I will learn, and I will learn, and I will learn, and invest in only myself.
Yeah.
No investments that have any risk. The only investment I would do is the investment that has no risk, which is investing in myself.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of, you've started a lot of business. Do you still feel like there is one thing out there that you are called to build?
The only thing that I really am called to build is what I'm currently building,
Yeah.
which is guaranteed prosperity. This is a business where we help people to make a lot of money ethically, quickly, and with the long-term sustainability, while being successful in all parts of life.
Yeah.
Their health, their relationships, with their children, with their team, and of course have money. So that's what we do. We help with that. How do we do it? Many different ways. It just depends on what each person needs. One-on-one mentorship, giving them a program to study, helping them with implementation, whatever. That, to me, is all I want to do. In fact, I'm an entrepreneur. I have an itch to start new businesses all the time. As I said at the beginning with the festivals, I locked in on one thing, building the festivals.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that exact same thing with guaranteed prosperity.
Yeah.
And we put out so much value, and what we say is so different and so flipped on its head to what everybody else says, that it's just the only thing I want to do is help more people with that, because every day the success stories we have are things you can't imagine. Like just unbelievable success stories.
All right. So we are getting to the end of our podcast, and I just wanted to ask if there was one advice you give to a young entrepreneur like myself in terms of like starting off a business, what would it be?
I would say that success, the definition of the word success,
Yeah.
okay? I'll give a second for the listeners as I'm talking right now. Think about what success means to you. Everybody has a definition of success, but most people can't really define it.
Yeah.
What is success? I'll give you a definition that will at first seem to you, but if you really understand it, it will change everything. Success is the sum means the total you get once you've added it all up.
Yeah.
The sum of all validated means you say well done. Okay, I validate you, I say well done, improvements. The sum of all validated improvements is success. The more you say well done to yourself, well done to yourself, well done, well done, well done, for every little thing that you added up, there's a sum of validated improvements. You pat yourself on the back, wow, I just did a phone call, wow, I just did 10 cold calls, even though I didn't want to. It's an improvement. I did it when I didn't want to. Then I have one guy who showed a little bit of interest. He didn't buy it. It's fine. But I had an improvement. Well done. everything I add up, all the wins, all the improvements, every little improvement, added, boom, boom, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
Success is the sum of all validated improvements. You need to be a radar for where you've improved today.
Yeah.
Where have you improved this week? And what most people are professionals at, they don't even need a radar, they do it automatically now,
Yeah.
is finding every way that they had a flaw and a failure and a problem and an issue and what isn't right. You're a professional at finding that.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror, you find flaws with your face. You look at your business, you find flaws with your business. You look at your day and you find flaws with your day. You did a sales meeting, all you do is you find flaws with, oh my god, I was so stupid, I said this and this. You find flaws with yourself in your sales meeting. That's what everybody's a professional at.
Yeah.
The best piece of advice I can give you, success is the sum of all validated improvements. So we got it. There were some areas that didn't go so well. Got it. Thank you very much. Ignore it. Got it. We know it's there. Ignore it for right now. Find your improvements. Find them. Discover them. Which means you need to look for them. Dig them up. They're there. Find the improvements every single day. Validate them. Say, well done, well done, well done. And everything will change.
Okay, so for those that are listening and want to reach out and work with you,
Yeah.
where are they able to find you?
If you want to find me personally, you can go to my Instagram and DM me. I personally reply to everyone.
Right.
It's Gal A Ezra. GALAEZRA. That's my personal Instagram. If you want to get daily pieces of truth that'll help you in every part of your life, go to our website or look us up on Instagram. It's G Prosperity Now on Instagram. G, the letter G, the word prosperity now on Instagram, or go to gprosperity.com. Do a free course. Take 45 minutes. Do a free course. See if what I'm saying is actually going to really change your income, your life, your business, your sales, your health, your family, your children, your marriage, your relationships. Go ahead, and if it really will, you'll thank me.
Yeah.
And it will.
I will personally do one myself as well.
100%. You need to.
All right, Gil, thank you very much for agreeing to come on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for the platform.
I have definitely learned a lot, and I think with this information that you've given me, I'm hoping to apply to my businesses that I'm starting as well, and
Yeah.
I'm sure the audience have definitely learned a lot from listening to this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'm sure you'll have nothing but success.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the platform.